You know, Elena, I was telling Michael on this interview that he was doing with me yesterday, Michael Sala, about my friendship with the former NASA astronaut scientist, Dr. Brian O'Leary, who had been, he was lined up to lead the mission to Mars in the 1970s, I think it was, and Congress pulled the budget. They were planning to do that mission. It was a big hoo-ha at the time. Dr. Brian O'Leary was in training and getting ready for it with his crew, and he was the lead astronaut scientist. They then pulled the mission. He was obviously devastated about that. We became friendly in years before his death. And at one point, the last time I saw him, when he came and stayed with me in my home in London with his wonderful wife, Meredith, he had just been returning from a conference in, I think, Barcelona, where he was disclosing in this small conference the fact that the Japanese space program, who had jointly funded the Saturn probe mission with NASA, and the live feeds coming in from the Japanese space program showed that as the probe was approaching the rings of Saturn, it could see alien craft over 200 kilometers long mining the rings of Saturn. Well, the Japanese went ballistic when they saw this. NASA and the Pentagon contacted Japan and said, under no circumstances do you release that to the public. The Japanese said, go fuck yourselves. We funded this. We'll do what we want. That didn't turn out too well for the Japanese. Fukushima and all sorts of takedown of Japan followed resultantly. Yep. And if you remember, the 80s and 90s, Japan was taking over the world. It was buying up everything. It was a booming economy. And the Sabatians took Japan pretty much down and threw them back 50 years. But the point I'm making is this, is that Japan was ready for disclosure decades ago. They contacted Dr. Brian O'Leary and asked him to please, as an agent of disclosure and a former NASA astronaut scientist, will you please tell the world the truth? And here are the photographs. I saw them of these alien craft mining the rings of Saturn.